Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, the world just doesn't seem to cooperate? That you plan, you push, you fight, yet nothing falls into place? What if I told you that the key to real power isn't in fighting harder, but in letting go? What if you stopped forcing things, stopped obsessing over every little detail, and just trusted that life has a way of unfolding in its own time? That the struggle isn't always necessary? Sounds counterintuitive, right? It's almost like a paradox. To gain control, you have to let go of the need to control. But this is exactly where the magic lies. You see, for centuries, the Stoics, a group of philosophers from ancient Greece and Rome, have understood this concept in its deepest form. They taught us that the more we fight against reality, the more we suffer. They didn't see life as something to be mastered through force. Instead, they saw it as something to be understood, accepted, and aligned with. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic minds, once wrote about the importance of accepting life as it is, rather than wasting precious energy trying to change things beyond our control. That's the key, focusing on what we can change, and letting go of the rest. It's the art of choosing where to direct our energy, of knowing where we truly have power and where we don't. But how do we even begin to shift our mindset? How do we move from a life of frustration, exhaustion, and endless struggle to one of calm acceptance and true peace of mind? That's what we're about to dive into. In this video, I'm going to take you on a journey through the Stoic philosophy, a way of thinking that can radically change how you approach life, success, and even your relationships. By the end, you'll have a new way of seeing things, one that puts you in the driver's seat of your life by giving you the ability to let go of things outside your control. Let's go deeper into this. Life has a strange way of teaching us lessons, especially when we try to control every little detail, outcomes, timing, how people respond. We all do it, don't we? We plan, we plot, we micromanage every single step, believing that somehow, if we just get everything right, everything will fall into place. But here's the kicker. The more we try to control, the more it slips through our fingers. It's frustrating, right? We exhaust ourselves, and yet the harder we push, the less we seem to get back. We start to wonder, why isn't anything working the way we thought it should? Why does it feel like we're running in circles, chasing after something that never quite arrives? The truth is, this is exactly where most of us go wrong. We're so focused on controlling everything, every action, every reaction, that we forget about one simple truth. Life can't be controlled. Not completely. We cannot dictate the weather, nor can we control the way others think or behave, and trying to do so only leads to frustration, burnout, and an endless cycle of stress. But what if I told you that everything you've been taught about pushing harder is completely backwards? What if the moment you stop forcing, stop grasping, and start trusting that things will work out as they are meant to, everything begins to flow effortlessly? It sounds too easy, doesn't it? But this, my friend, is the power of shifting your mindset. This isn't about giving up or abandoning responsibility. It's about understanding the difference between what is within your control and what isn't. It's about taking your energy, your focus, and your willpower, and directing it only where it matters. This is the essence of true power. Knowing when to push and when to step back and let things unfold naturally. Let's pause for a moment to think about this. We all know what it feels like to be stuck in a constant battle with life. We resist things we can't change. We fight against situations, events, people, and circumstances. But what does that resistance really bring us? More struggle, more anxiety, more wasted energy. We end up feeling drained, defeated, and hopeless. The Stoics, however, mastered the art of accepting reality as it is. Centuries ago, these brilliant minds understood something many of us still don't fully grasp. Struggling against things beyond our control is futile. It only creates suffering. True strength lies in our ability to accept reality, not fight against it. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, often wrote about the importance of accepting what life throws our way. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He said, it's a simple yet profound concept. We can't control the world around us, but we can control how we respond to it. Think about it for a second. When life throws challenges your way, whether it's work stress, relationship issues, or financial struggles, how do you usually respond? Do you fight against them, trying to force things to go your way? Or do you step back, breathe, and choose how to react with calm and clarity? The Stoics believed that this was the essence of mastering one's own life. They understood that, although we cannot always control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. And that, my friend, is where the power lies. Now, let me take this one step further. It's not just about accepting reality. It's about truly embracing the idea that the most powerful thing you can do is stop fighting against the flow of life. The more you fight, the more resistance you create, and the more energy you waste. But when you surrender, not out of weakness, but out of understanding, you create space for the universe to align things in your favor. What if, instead of obsessing over every detail, you simply trusted that things would fall into place in their own time? What if you allowed yourself to let go of the need to micromanage every situation, every person, every outcome? What if you allowed yourself to just be? This is where the Stoic mindset becomes truly transformative. The Stoics were not passive. They didn't just sit back and let life happen. No, they were incredibly active in their own growth, in their ability to shape their own character and inner peace. But they understood the importance of accepting the things they couldn't change and focusing their energy on what they could control: their own thoughts, their own responses, their own actions. And this is exactly what we'll explore in this video. By shifting your mindset, by embracing the Stoic philosophy, you'll not only transform how you approach life, but you'll also revolutionize how you view success, relationships, and inner peace. It's not just about changing your behavior. It's about shifting your entire perspective on life. You see, life is not a battle to be won. It's a dance to be experienced. The more rigid and controlling we become, the more we miss out on the beauty and fluidity of life. The Stoics understood that everything in life, every relationship, every experience, every challenge, is part of a larger, more intricate design, and our job is not to fight against it, but to flow with it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting you sit idly by and let things happen to you. That's not what the Stoics taught. What they did teach is that you must focus your energy on what truly matters, your own growth, your own mindset, your own peace of mind, and from that place of calm and clarity, everything else falls into place. Think about it, when you stop trying to control every outcome, you create the space for life to surprise you in beautiful, unexpected ways. When you let go of the need to know every step, you open yourself up to new possibilities, new opportunities, and new relationships. And when you trust that things will work out, you allow your life to unfold in a way that feels effortless. This isn't some feel-good, fluffy philosophy. This is about real change. It's about training your mind to focus on what you can shape and letting go of everything else. It's about shifting from a mindset of fear, stress, and control to one of trust, peace, and acceptance. So, what does this look like in practice? How do we start to implement this mindset shift into our everyday lives? How do we begin to trust the process, let go of our need for control, and live more freely? In this video, we'll break it down step by step. We'll explore how you can take the teachings of the Stoics and apply them directly to your own life. You'll learn how to let go of unnecessary stress, how to focus on what truly matters, and how to create lasting peace in your mind. But first, let's dive deeper into what the Stoics taught us about accepting reality, about focusing on what we can control, and about letting go of the rest. Because once you understand these principles, you'll never look at life the same way again. We spend so much of our lives obsessing over results, waiting for job offers, hoping that relationships work out, stressing over whether our efforts will pay off. We've all been there, haven't we? We wake up each day with a goal in mind, a destination we feel we must reach, and everything we do is geared toward achieving it. The belief is simple. If we work hard enough, push just a little bit more, if we try enough times, we'll eventually force things to go our way. But what happens? The more we chase these outcomes, the more we stress, the more we cling to a specific result, the more anxious we become. It's like trying to hold on to water with your bare hands. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips away. But here's the catch. The harder we push, the less satisfaction we find in the process. We turn into our own worst enemies, tirelessly pursuing results that might be completely out of our hands. And here's the biggest irony. By obsessing over outcomes, we forget about the joy that comes from the journey itself. The process stops feeling fulfilling, and instead of enjoying the ride, we become slaves to the end goal. constantly worried that our happiness is entirely dependent on things we can't fully control. And that's the trap. We've all been caught in it. It's like being on a treadmill. We're running hard, but no matter how fast we go, we're stuck in place. The harder we try to control things, the less we enjoy the ride. The more we think we can control, the more we realize just how little we actually do. It's a paradox that's as old as time itself. The more you try to control, the more you lose control. The Stoics were keenly aware of this paradox, and they taught us a very different approach to dealing with life's uncertainties. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, believed that suffering doesn't come from the events themselves, but from our attachment to how we want those events to unfold. In fact, he went so far as to say, we suffer not because of what happens, but because of our attachment to what we want to happen. Think about that for a second. How often have you been disappointed not because of the event itself, but because it didn't go the way you expected it to? How often have you felt anxious or upset because things didn't turn out as you had planned? It's not the outcome that's causing the suffering, it's the attachment to it. The expectation that it must unfold in a particular way. Epictetus went on to say, do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens as it should. Imagine how freeing that would feel, to stop fighting for things to be a certain way, and instead, to embrace life as it comes, trusting that things will unfold as they are meant to. That doesn't mean we stop taking action. It doesn't mean we give up on our goals. But it means we shift our focus from the outcome to the process. Instead of tying our happiness to a specific result, we focus on the process, the things we can control. We focus on our actions, our discipline, and most importantly, our mindset. It's the one thing we have complete control over. Think about how powerful that is. By letting go of the attachment to outcomes, we free ourselves from the anxiety and frustration that comes with it. We stop chasing something that may never come, and instead, we start living fully in the present, fully immersed in the moment, fully engaged in the process itself. Now, let me offer an analogy that I think really brings this to life. Think about an artist painting a masterpiece. Imagine they are so fixated on making every brushstroke perfect, so obsessed with how others will judge their work, that they become paralyzed. They second-guess every decision, stress over every detail, and, as a result, the creative flow is completely stifled. The act of painting becomes a chore, and the work itself feels forced. The masterpiece never comes to life. Why? Because the artist is so attached to the result, to the idea of the perfect painting, that they can't experience the joy of painting. But what happens when the artist detaches from the final result? What happens when they focus only on the act of painting, on the brush strokes, the colors, the texture? When they immerse themselves in the process, when they let go of the need for perfection, something incredible happens. The work becomes effortless. The strokes flow smoothly. The colors blend naturally, and the masterpiece emerges, almost by accident, because the artist was no longer obsessed with the outcome. They allowed themselves to be fully present, to let the work evolve on its own. This is the beauty of detaching from outcomes. When we stop obsessing over results, we create space for the work, the process, the journey to unfold naturally. We stop forcing things and let them come into being at their own pace. And in doing so, we discover that the process itself is often far more fulfilling than the outcome ever could be. But this isn't just about painting or art. It applies to every aspect of life. When we're constantly focused on results, on checking off the boxes, on getting to the finish line as quickly as possible, we miss out on the beauty of the journey. The Stoics knew this. They understood that the pursuit of happiness, success, and peace of mind isn't about achieving specific outcomes. It's about how we engage with life in the moment. It's about how we approach the journey itself. So, how do we apply this to our own lives? How do we shift our mindset from being fixated on outcomes to embracing the process? First, it starts with awareness. The next time you find yourself obsessing over an outcome, whether it's a job offer, a relationship, or a goal, take a step back and ask yourself, why am I so attached to this? What would happen if I let go of my need to control the outcome? Next, remind yourself that you have the power to control only one thing: your response. You can control how you react, how you approach the situation, and how you engage with the process. You cannot control how others behave, how the world unfolds, or what the future holds. But you can control how you show up, how you move through life, and how you respond to challenges. This shift in mindset won't happen overnight, but with practice, it becomes a habit. It becomes a new way of seeing the world, a new way of living. And once you begin to detach from outcomes and embrace the process, you'll find that life flows more smoothly, with less resistance and more joy. You'll be able to focus on what truly matters: your own growth, your own journey, and the beauty of each moment. By letting go of the need to control everything, you free yourself from the anxiety and frustration that comes with chasing outcomes. And in doing so, you create space for something far more powerful: peace of mind, inner calm, and a sense of fulfillment that doesn't depend on anything outside of yourself. So, the next time you find yourself caught in the trap of trying to control everything, remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Let go of your attachment to outcomes, and focus instead on the process, the things you can control. When you do, you'll find that life becomes a lot more enjoyable, and that the outcomes you desire will come to you naturally. Have you ever seen someone try too hard to impress someone else? You know the type. The one who's constantly talking about their accomplishments, name-dropping, or bending over backward just to get attention. The energy feels needy, desperate, almost forced. And what happens? It doesn't work. In fact, it often has the opposite effect. The harder they try, the more they push people away. We've all witnessed it, and maybe, at some point, we've even been guilty of it ourselves. But here's the truth. When someone is confident in who they are, when they're at ease with themselves and not obsessing over a particular outcome, they naturally attract others. Why? Because they trust that whatever happens will happen. They don't need validation, and they're not desperate for approval. They're not attached to a specific result. This kind of energy is magnetic because it's authentic and grounded. That's the power of detachment. When we stop trying to control everything, when we stop desperately clinging to specific outcomes, we free ourselves to be exactly who we are. And when we trust the process, when we release the need to force things into existence, life falls into place effortlessly. This is true not just in relationships, but in every area of our lives. Let's talk about success. So often, we imagine success as this straight path, where we work hard, climb step by step, and reach the destination we've always dreamed of. But let's be honest, success is never that simple. It's full of twists, setbacks, and unexpected opportunities. The road to success is rarely a direct line. And if you're too attached to one specific outcome, you might miss a much better opportunity that life is trying to bring your way. We've all been there. We've had a goal in mind, something we worked tirelessly toward, only to find that when we reached it, it wasn't all we thought it would be, or worse, we missed something even better that was waiting just around the corner. So ask yourself, what am I holding onto too tightly? What goal, expectation, or outcome is causing me stress and anxiety? Maybe it's a job that you've been pouring all your energy into, hoping that it will bring you happiness or success. Or perhaps it's a relationship that you're desperately trying to force into being something it's not. Whatever it is, think about how it's affecting you. Does it drain you? Does it keep you up at night, wondering if things will ever go as planned? The truth is, when we're too attached to one specific outcome, we often lose sight of the bigger picture. We get so focused on one thing that we close ourselves off from other possibilities, from other paths that might lead us to even greater things. Now, imagine what would happen if you let go of that grip, not giving up, but letting go of the need to control every step, every move. What if you simply trusted that whatever happens, you'll be okay? What if you could trust that life, with all its unpredictability, has a way of guiding you toward what's meant for you? That's the essence of detachment. It's not about being passive or resigning yourself to whatever comes. It's about releasing the need to control every detail and trusting that, in doing so, you'll find peace and clarity. You'll find that the path forward is often much more fulfilling when you allow life to unfold as it should. Detachment is not about giving up. It's about surrendering to the flow of life and trusting that, in the end, you're exactly where you need to be. So, what's the cost of holding on too tightly? And what might you gain by letting go and allowing life to surprise you? How do you practice detachment in your daily life? It's a question that requires a shift in perspective, a shift in how we approach every aspect of our day-to-day existence. First, remind yourself every single day that outcomes are beyond your control. That's the foundation of Stoic practice. We spend so much energy worrying about things that are completely out of our hands. Whether it's how others will react to us, whether a project will succeed, or even how relationships will turn out. All of that is out of your control. The only thing you can truly control is your effort, your discipline, and your mindset. That's it. Second, reframe your thinking. Instead of saying, "I need this to happen," shift to, "I trust that whatever happens will be for my growth." This isn't about giving up. It's about trusting the process and knowing that everything, even the things that don't go as planned, can contribute to your development. The universe has a strange way of guiding us exactly where we need to be. Even if it's not where we expect, every situation, good or bad, is an opportunity for learning. When you shift your mindset to see growth in every outcome, no matter how it looks, you start to see life through a completely different lens. And third, focus on the present moment. This might sound simple, but it's often the hardest thing to do. We are so conditioned to plan for the future, to stress about what's coming next, that we forget to fully experience what's happening right now. The more you immerse yourself in the present, the less power the future has over you. The Stoics often taught about the importance of focusing on the present, because it is the only thing that's real. The past is gone, the future hasn't arrived yet, and all we have is right now. By staying present, we can free ourselves from unnecessary anxiety and stress, and truly live in the moment. Your mindset shapes how you experience life. If you don't learn to master your mind will master you. It's as simple as that. The thoughts you entertain, the way you react to challenges, and the stories you tell yourself about your life all have a profound impact on your experience. You see, the difference between people who crumble under pressure and those who thrive is mindset. You can't always control what happens around you, but you can control how you respond. That's where your true power lies. It's in the choice you make in every moment, in how you decide to approach the things that challenge you. Life throws challenges at us constantly. Some days, everything flows effortlessly, and other days, it feels like the world is working against you. But what if every single challenge you face is actually an opportunity in disguise? The Stoics believed that every challenge, every obstacle, is an opportunity to practice virtue, whether it's patience, resilience, wisdom, or courage, and those virtues, practiced consistently, are what create inner strength and wisdom. It's easy to think that hardship is something to avoid, but the Stoics taught that hardship is where growth happens. Epictetus said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." How many times have you faced a challenge and spent days, weeks, or even months worrying about how bad it might be, only to realize when you actually confront it that it wasn't nearly as difficult as you imagine? Our minds have a tendency to blow things out of proportion, to make challenges seem insurmountable when they're actually just part of the journey. Seneca, another great Stoic, wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Just like lifting weights strengthens muscles, facing challenges strengthens your character. Every struggle, every setback, every moment of frustration is actually training you to be stronger." It's like going to the gym for your mind. The more you practice detachment, the more you focus on the present, the more resilient you become in the face of adversity. When life throws you a curveball, instead of resisting it, try to embrace it. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What virtue can I practice here? Whether it's patience when things aren't moving as quickly as you'd like, or resilience when a project fails, every challenge is an opportunity to sharpen your mind and build your inner strength. The more you practice this mindset, the more you realize that no matter what life throws at you, you have the ability to rise above it. The strength you need is already within you. It's just waiting to be cultivated. Patience is one of the hardest things to practice, especially when you're working towards something important. You've put in the effort, done everything right, and yet, nothing seems to be happening. It's frustrating, isn't it? You've invested your time, energy, and even your heart, and still, the results aren't showing up. The world tells us that success should come quickly, that we should be able to see immediate returns on our hard work. But life doesn't operate on our schedule. It doesn't follow a predictable timeline. It moves according to its own rhythm, its own pace, and that's something we need to accept. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminded us, no great thing is created suddenly. That's a powerful statement. It challenges the very core of how we think about success and achievement. We want things now. We want instant gratification, but we have to remember that success, true success, takes time to develop, just like you can't force a tree to grow faster by pulling on its branches. You can't force your dreams to materialize before their time. The growth process, whether it's personal development, career progress, or a relationship, takes patience. It's the slow, steady cultivation of effort over time that leads to real, lasting results. But here's where it gets tricky. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for life to just happen. It's an active process, one that requires continuous effort and the willingness to trust that things will unfold when they're meant to. You might not see the results today, or tomorrow, or even next week, but if you stay the course, continue to put in the work, and maintain your focus, you'll start to see the fruits of your labor eventually. Patience is about knowing that, though you can't control the timing, you can control your commitment to the process. Now, let's talk about releasing control. True freedom doesn't come from controlling every outcome. It comes from letting go of the need to control everything. When you focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your responses, you reclaim your power. You stop being a victim to circumstances and instead take full ownership of your journey. This is where true peace comes from, because you no longer feel at the mercy of external forces. You realize that your power lies in how you respond to life's challenges, not in trying to force life to bend to your will. Think about relationships. Have you ever tried to change someone? Maybe you wanted a friend, a partner, or a family member to behave differently, to think differently, or to act differently. You pushed, you tried, you gave advice, you set expectations, but no matter how much you tried, they stayed the same. Frustrating, isn't it? But that's because people are not ours to control. No matter how much we want to shape someone's behavior, their thoughts, or their actions. We can communicate, we can set boundaries, and we can choose who we allow into our lives. But ultimately, we can't force someone to change. The sooner we accept this, the sooner we find peace. When we stop trying to control others, we stop draining our energy on things we can't influence. And this doesn't just apply to relationships, it applies to every aspect of life. The more you let go of the need to control everything, the more you free yourself from the stress and anxiety that come with it. You begin to see that the world doesn't need to operate according to your script for you to be happy. True freedom lies in knowing that we can navigate life with grace and ease, not by controlling every outcome, but by trusting ourselves in the process. In the end, living with patience and releasing control isn't about being passive or giving up. It's about being in tune with the natural flow of life, understanding that things will happen in their own time, and that the most important thing we can do is stay true to our purpose. Keep putting in the work, and allow life to unfold as it will. The Stoics knew that real power comes from within. When you act with confidence, trust in the process, and let go of the need to control, everything starts to fall into place. You don't need to fight against the flow of life or force things to happen. The more you try to control every outcome, the more you resist the natural rhythm of the world around you. And when you resist, you end up exhausting yourself. But when you align with life, when you trust the process and focus on what you can control, your actions, your discipline, your mindset, everything begins to align. The universe works with you, not against you. It's almost as if life has been waiting for you to stop fighting and finally surrender to its flow. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics, once said, "Do what you must, and let what happens happen." This is the essence of aligned action. You do what you must. You focus on what's in your control. You put in the effort. You stay disciplined, but you don't obsess over the results. You let go of the need for a specific outcome and trust that, in the end, what happens will be exactly what you need. It's not about passivity or resignation. It's about trusting the process, showing up every day, and allowing things to unfold in their own time. And that's when the magic happens. You stop forcing, you stop stressing, and you start living with ease. The universe has a way of guiding you exactly where you need to be when you stop trying to control everything. The more you let go, the more you start to experience the flow of life. You stop chasing and start aligning with your true purpose. And when you align with life, it aligns with you. This brings us to the final thought. Life is about mastering yourself. It's about learning to control your thoughts, your actions, your reactions, and letting go of the rest. The moment you shift your focus from chasing to aligning, from forcing to flowing, everything starts to unfold naturally. You begin to live with purpose, patience, and peace, knowing that the universe will always work in your favor when you trust the process. So take a deep breath, trust the process, and remember, real power comes from within. The true freedom you've been searching for doesn't lie in controlling every outcome, but in embracing the journey, trusting that everything is happening for your growth. If this video resonated with you, there's another one on the screen right now that will take you even deeper into Stoic wisdom. Click on it and keep learning. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a new insight. Thanks for being a part of Stoic Journal. You're on the path to mastering yourself. Keep walking it with confidence, patience, and trust.